What's up guys, welcome back to my channel where I talk about men's fashion and vintage fashion. So today we're going to do another episode of History of Fashion. Wait. Like today here is so hot guys, like I'm melting. So guys, today we're going to talk about 1980s. The 1980s saw the end of the Cold War and the rise of synthesized music. Pop culture was more important to people than ever before, and choices were plenty. The global internet took shape in academia by the second half of the 1980s, as well as many other computer networks of both academic and commercial use, such as Usenet, FidoNet, and bulletin board system. By 1989, the internet and the networks linked it were a global system with MTV was launched, and music videos began to have a larger effect on the record industry. Pop artists such as Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Duran Duran, Prince, Cyndi Lauper, and Madonna mastered the format and helped to turn this new product into a business. In the 1980s, fashion had moved away from the hippie look and the overdressed disco style of the late 1970s. Athletic clothes were more popular than jeans during this period, as were more subdued colors. Popular colors were black, white, indigo, forest green, burgundy, and different shades of brown, tans, and oranges. Velour, velvet, and polyester were popular fabrics used in clothes, especially button-ups and V-neck shirts. Trouser pants remained popular during this time, being fairly wide but straight, and tighter shirts were especially popular, sometimes in a cropped athletic style. Popular clothing in the early 1980s worn by men includes tracksuits, V-neck sweaters, polyester, velour polo neck shirts, sport jerseys, straight-leg jeans, jeans rolled to show off their slouch socks, polyester button-ups, cowboy boots, and other stuff. From the early to the mid-1980s, post-punk and new wave music groups influenced the mainstream male and female fashion. Commercially made slim-fitting suits, thin neckties in leather and bold patterns, striped shirts and member-only jackets, club wear, metallic fabric shirts, cat-eye glasses, horn-rimmed glasses with bright color flames. Michael Jackson also was a big influence of teenage boys and young men's fashion, such as matching red and black leather pants and jackets, white gloves, sunglasses, and oversized large shoulder faded leather jackets with puffy sleeves. Men's business attire saw a return of the pinstripes for the first time since the 1970s. The new pinstripes were much wider than in 1930s and 1940s suits, but were similar to the 1970s style. The three-piece suits began their decline in the early 1980s, and labels on suits became very narrow. While vests and waistcoats in the 1970s had been commonly worn with 6 or 5 buttons, those made in the early 1980s often had only 4 buttons and were made to be worn low. They were known as power suits and were typically made in navy blue, Churchill gray, or Air Force blue. Aloha shirts and Bermuda shirts were worn on Aloha Fridays. By the end of the decade, when the custom of casual Fridays had spread in the US mainland, this outfit became acceptable as the daily Hawaiian business wear. Elsewhere in the Caribbean and Latin America, especially Mexico, Ecuador, and Colombia, and Cuba, men wore the Guayabera shirt for semi-formal occasions in imitation to the President Fidel Castro and Luis Echeverria. The origins of the new romantic and new wave fashion and music movement in the mid-1980s are often attributed to the Blitz kids that frequented the club Blitz in London, especially David Bowie. The Blitz kids described the movement as a retaliation to punk, usually becoming too violent and unsavory crowds such as neo-Nazis and skinheads. Romantic clothing was inspired from the creativity and self-expression of the movement. It was inspired by different cultures and time periods, film noir. Men often wore dramatic cosmetics and androgynous clothing, including ruffled poet shirts, red or blue hussar jackets with gold braid, silk sashes, tight pants, shiny rayon waistcoats and tailcoats based on those worn during the Regency era. Following the mod revival of the late 70s, the UK had a revival of rude boy skinhead fashion during the early 80s, and it was made from slim-fitting mohair, tonic and houndstooth suits were popular, together with basket weave shoes, polo shirts, strap-pressed trousers, Doc Martens, braces, Harrington jackets, and pork pie hats. In the rap and hip-hop scene in the early 1980s, long and wide attached socks were often calf-high or knee-high, were worn with sneakers. Run DMC and other hip-hop groups also were influenced by the apparel industry, wearing tracksuits and large chain necklaces that were popularized by sportswear brands as Fila, Puma, Reebok, Nike, Avia, and Adidas. Individuals in the culture also frequently wore bucket hats, oversized jackets and t-shirts, and high-contrast colors. Fashion in hip-hop was a way to surpass the poverty that surrounded the community. Rap and hip-hop were not one specific style, but rather a mix between high-end luxury fashion and what was on the street. The Harlem designer Dapper Dan embodied this concept, designing luxury items and making them available to those on the streets. Parachute pants are a style of trouser that were defined by the use of the whipstop nylon or extremely baggy cuts. The original tight-fitting parachute pants were of the late 1970s and early 1980s. Parachute pants were referred to the pants that were made in synthetic nylon material. In the later 1980s, parachute pants made their way through the rapper MC Hammer. Hammer pants differed from the parachute pants of the 1970s and early 1980s. They were typically worn as menswear. An example of preppy attire would be a button-down Oxford cloth shirt, ascot tie, cuffed khakis, and a tasseled loafers, skirts, or boat shoes. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, preppy fashions featured a lot of pastels, turtleneck sweaters, polo shirts, and also what would be considered preppy wearing a cable-knit cardigan and agile patterned sweater. So now that we know a little bit about the history and the style of the 1980s, I'm going to show you 3 outfits around the 80s culture, one around the athletic clothing, another one around the preppy look, and the last one around the pop culture and teen. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, hit notification bell so you will know when I put my next video. And tell me in the comments if you want me to do also the 2000 and the 1910s. And I will see you very soon, guys.